The Samsung Galaxy S4 got put into its latest iteration, and as a result, got shrunken down. But how does the little sibling stack up against the big one? Hey, it's Joshua Vergara from Android Authority. What's going on, everybody? And this is the Samsung Galaxy S4 versus the Samsung Galaxy S4 Mini. Even at a first glance, design is a bit of a no-brainer. The Galaxy S4 Mini is literally the smaller version of the S4. Everything from the plastic build, the rounded corners, the silver spine, and even the button layout has been brought down to size. The S4 Mini is a little bit slimmer, a little thinner, and a little shorter than the S4, making it also lighter all around. And that would be the main difference. The 4.3-inch screen makes the entire body easy to handle in one hand, which is a very refreshing feeling compared to all of the larger devices out there. In the hand, it is easy to throw around because of its light profile. If you thought idly tossing around the S4 was a little dangerous, you might feel more comfortable doing so with the Mini. Overall, if it comes down to your personal comfort, the Galaxy S4 is the best handling 5-inch screen device out there, but in reality, it really isn't for everyone. So then maybe that's where the S4 Mini comes in. The displays are both Super AMOLED performers with the usual high saturation and good contrast. The Galaxy S4 has the 5-inch screen capable of 1080p resolution and 441 ppi. A larger screen makes it easier to play games, view movies, and read text, especially considering the high pixel density lending to good sharpness. The S4 is a great example of why 5-inch screens are pretty damn cool. But then again, the S4 Mini is a good example of how good a smaller screen can be. This 4.3-inch display is capable of 960 by 540 resolution at 256 ppi. I still think a 720p resolution screen could have been possible here, but this screen is nonetheless a good performer. The lowered pixel density definitely makes smaller text harder to read, and if you view media and play games, the smaller screen might not be the most comfortable. For getting pretty much any typical task done, the Mini is more than capable though. And when it's so easy to use, that just might be a good trade-off. The performance aspect is a battle of mid and top tier packages. What is nice is that the changes are at least proportional. The Galaxy S4 has the Snapdragon 600 clocked in at 1.9 GHz backed by the Adreno 320 and 2 GB of RAM. This is the package that powers all of the top phones these days and works wonderfully. No lag whatsoever in the UI, and intensive apps are handled with ease. The Mini gets the Snapdragon 400, the dual-core variant that is clocked in at 1.7 GHz. You then get the Adreno 305 and 1.5 GB of RAM. Even if it is a lower performer overall, I didn't have much trouble using the Mini for just about any task. Very intensive games obviously did show a little lag at some points, but it wasn't anything drastic, nor did it hinder from the experience. Scores put the Mini about 10,000 points below the S4, which really comes as no surprise. But ultimately, if you really need the best of the best out of everything you do, the S4 is the obvious choice. Otherwise, most regular users will find the Mini capable of doing just about anything they might need. The hardware department is where things really change up. Samsung did want to make a smaller version of their flagship phone, but in the end, the S4 remains the king of the Galaxy line. After all, the S4 comes with all of the sensors and extras that you kind of didn't really, well maybe sort of, asked for. Sensors for temperature, a barometer, motion sensors for hand gestures, and even a sensitive screen for air viewing all accompany this device. Perhaps the most sought-after features are the removable battery and the micro SD card slot. Those are features that do return in the Mini. Only 8 GB of storage come here, so that micro SD card definitely helps. All those sensors are absent though, so that means no hand or air gestures, no eye scrolling, none of that. So the Mini is a little more simplistic in its approach. The IR blaster does return though, so you can control your TV or related devices with this phone. This version of the S4 Mini is capable of handling 2 SIM cards, which is great for travelers. Multiple versions of either phone are available, so be sure of which one you get for your network. In the end, it comes down to what you want. All the extras in the original S4 might be appealing to you, but for a more classical way of navigating your phone, the S4 Mini's got your back. Size matters once again in the battery department. The Galaxy S4 had a very impressive battery life with its 2600 mAh removable unit, while the S4 Mini comes with a 1900 mAh removable battery. Spares are always pretty handy for power users. When it comes to pure battery life, it seems that the lowered specs overall of the Mini do help it even out. Coupled with battery-saving features, both of these phones are easily able to get through a normal day's work. The Galaxy S4 might get a little more than a day with the right usage, something that the S4 Mini may fall just short of. Need as much juice as possible? Well, the S4 may be the choice for you. And now we come to the cameras, which is another example of the proportional change from the S4 to the Mini. 13 megapixels are what you get with the original S4 along with a full-featured app. You get pretty much anything you could want to make your smartphone photography more fun. Drama modes, eraser modes, dual recording, the works. Picture quality puts it among the best with great detail and color reproduction. And then you get the 8 megapixel shooter in the S4 Mini, essentially a performer much like the flagships of yesteryear. Its app does get stripped down and doesn't include as many extras as the one in the S4. No dual recording or drama and eraser modes. Pictures are obviously smaller for the Mini, but they provide just about the same level of quality. You can rest assured that the pictures you get from either phone will be satisfactory. If you want to get creative with what the S4 gives you to play with, then you can go for the original. But the simpler approach of the Mini manages to still bring very good quality. Finally, the software. You get the love it or hate it user interface of TouchWiz here, only either bigger or smaller. Otherwise, there's not much difference. Obviously, because of the hardware aspect, the original S4 gets all of the extra navigational features like hand gestures and air view. Apps bundled in include S-Voice, Group Play, Watch On, and S-Health. It is a very complete package that thankfully benefited from the larger screen. The usually bloated and uber colorful interface works well on the 5-inch screen. Which is why it's actually nice that TouchWiz has scaled down well enough to look good on the Mini's smaller screen. It doesn't turn out too crowded and is still easy enough on the eyes for easy usage. It doesn't come with all of the extra navigation options, and as far as apps go, it doesn't include S-Health pre-installed. But other than that, you're looking at pretty much the same general experience. This one comes down to whether or not you want the new ways introduced by the S4 to navigate. With the Galaxy S4 having been out for a little while already, its price has come down but still remains as much as $700 unlocked or up to $199 with a contract. We don't know as much about the Mini's price points, but it may likely come around the $500 mark unlocked. And so, there you have it. The Galaxy S4 is no doubt one of the top phones on the market today, but Samsung isn't about to rest on its laurels. With so many different versions of the S4 soon to come out, the Mini is admittedly a very refreshing experience. Today's general offerings in yesterday's form factor. And you know what? It works pretty well. The S4 Mini is a phone that anyone can easily use and thus has its place. But if you really want to be on the cutting edge, the S4 is still king. If you want to see the full reviews for both of these devices, check out the links over on the side or down in the description. For all the best news and coverage, make sure you stay tuned to Android Authority's channel. Drop us a like down below, and don't forget to subscribe. And once you're done with all that, head on over to AndroidAuthority.com because we're your source for all things Android.